We are just about halfway through 2023, but before that we have another legendary banner in Fire Emblem Heroes. Today we'll talk about who is available to summon plus go over the new legendary hero in the game. For this month, we have legendary Hinoka in Mikoto's queen-esque outfit, and she has both fujin-raijin and Raijin with her. I guess that makes this Conquest Hinoka. Sadly, she won't be using both, and it's going to be a red flank archer this time. She's only the second one in the game. Hinoka is a fire legendary that boosts resistance, and their trailer listed her stats as 40 HP, 46 attack, 46 speed, 23 defense, and 22 res. If it wasn't obvious, Hinoka is coming to deal some big damage. For old skills, Hinoka has attack and speed catch 4 and the ever potent Deadeye Archer special. Business as usual, full offensive kit, here we come. Fujin-raijin Yumi is a 4-2 bow that enables Kanto 1, has Hinoka's trademarked arm effectiveness, and will accelerate specials as well. At start of combat, if she has more than 25% HP, grant plus 6 attack and speed, true damage on hit equal to 20%, offense and no follow-up, and if Hinoka attacks a green foe, or is faster than the foe, she prevents their counterattacks. Wowie. Our third archer Hinoka is not messing around. Dual Hinoka had some spicy perks, including adaptive damage and brave attacks, but she had to have weapon triangle advantage for those brave hits. Legendary Hinoka can have weapon triangle advantage or outspeed to get a fire sweep effect, and this is vital because most of Archer Hinoka's issues is surviving army units while trying to take them down. Unless they are Ascended Fjorm, Hinoka now has a safe way to attack them with the extra effective multiplier, and she has offensive follow-up to ensure she doubles. Assuming Hinoka safely initiates, armor foe or not, she then has Kanto 1 to at least move around to retreat. Very solid weapon here. Things get better with Hinoka's unique Rallying Cry C-skill. At start of turn, if unit is within 2 spaces of an ally, grant a breath type cooldown status to Hinoka and allies within 2 spaces for 1 turn. She also grants the charge status to herself and only flying allies within 2 spaces for 1 turn. Separately, inflict -5 speed, defense, and res on infantry, armored, and cavalry foes within 3 rows or 3 columns centered on Hinoka during combat. If you were sad Rain Snap didn't affect flying teammates, legendary Hinoka may be for you. She literally will lead the charge for flying teams, which is terrifying on an open map. Charge only works in a straight line, but you basically turn your flyers into cavaliers that ignore terrain. Ironically, Hinoka doesn't ride a Pegasus. As for the cooldown status, this is similar to Thor's Worldbreaker capabilities. Breath type cooldown is awesome for a lot of units, including ranged units, and this effect works on either phase, unlike the actual breath skills. With this status, you can move away from Hinoka while still having bonus cooldown, and since it's on the actual unit themselves, it doesn't get disabled by things like feud effects. The downside is that you must start the turn near Hinoka. With Thor, you can adjust during your turn. Last part of Rallying Cry is an extended range, speed, defense, and res rain debuff. As long as you aren't super diagonal to the enemies, Hinoka can easily support from the back lines. The most terrifying part of legendary Hinoka may not be even something unique to her. Wings of Mercy 4 is here, and it ain't messing around. Inflict -3 defense res on foes during combat. If unit is within 3 spaces of an ally that has taken any damage, you can warp to an adjacent space to that ally. Last, the original effect works under 60% HP now, and has been improved to let you warp to a space within 2 spaces of the hurt ally. That last part is actually insane. It's not a massive buff for the HP threshold, but going from regular adjacent warping to 2-space warping is nuts. That basically extends the attack range of the user by a whole space. I mean, that could possibly let you attack someone not covered by savior armor, and with Kanto skills, any dancer just got even more options. I'm pretty sure Escape Route 4 did not add any restrictions, so I assume Wings of Mercy 4 will still be usable by anyone. However, if they do add extreme restrictions, I really wouldn't be surprised. While the buffed OG effect is crazy, the secondary warp ability is also good. Warping within 3 range to an ally that takes damage is pretty dang good. Instant synergy for seasonal Bernadetta teams, plus you could also use someone like Brave Lysithea who also hurts herself. Could be great for Kanto users that can back up a bit. This part also works for basically any damage taken, so Fury and Push Recoil should be great pairings. Overall, legendary Hinoka finally brings in some safety for her offensive playstyle, like legendary Veronica. Fire Sweep plus offensive follow-up is fantastic. Sadly, no guard, but Slang and Rallying Cry at least give her the ability to charge Deadeye in 1 hit and proc it on the second one. If no guard ever were to become a status support or perk somehow, definitely would try to get it. At the very least, Hinoka also has armor effectiveness. We just got a very strong Far Saver and Harmonic Tiki. Hinoka probably has no chance of proccing Deadeye, but she can avoid Armored Flow's counterattack, still double, and at least get the effective multiplier. Hinoka has sky high attack and -8 defense debuffs from her kits, plus you have speed scaling true damage as well. Might not be enough to kill double Dragon Wall DR, but it should still hurt. In general, due to Wings of Mercy 4, Hinoka has crazy range once her teammates get hurt. She luckily has all the vital aspects for a good attacker in her unique skills, since the B slot for range flyers is still not that crowded. If you drop Wings of Mercy, Seal Defense 4 would be pretty good for Deadeye spam. Now obviously, if Hinoka's sweep tools fail or an enemy reaches her first, she's screwed. There is no Fallen Star type defense here, so if you dive in deep with Wings of Mercy, you better be able to escape danger for the enemy phase. Personally, I am interested in trying to get this Hinoka. I'm gonna wait to see the next banner in June, but I'm very tempted to pull here. She looks very fun to have. For the rest of this video, let's go over the 11 other heroes on the banner. Joining Hinoka in red is legendary Nana and rearmed Ophelia, stacked group. For blue, we have legendary Myrrh and Sheeta, plus rearmed Alfred. Green has Sather, Dogger, and legendary Robin, finishing up his honeymoon. Colorless has legendary Micaiah and Corin, plus Ascended Alencia. We discussed legendary Hinoka already, but she's probably going to be a popular unit if only for Wings of Mercy 4 fodder. Dancers technically don't need it, but they can easily utilize the secondary warp ability, especially if you have units like the seasonal Bernadettas. As for Deadeye and Attack and Speed Catch 4, not much else needs to be said. Archer only special that pierces DR, and one of the best stat boosters for either phase. If you go for legendary Hinoka, you can get some amazing secondary red units. Legendary Nana is an offensive sword cavalier that has Inner Choice Kanto, offensive follow-up, and full health desperation. She also has true damage based on 20% attack, which is a lot, and her normal attacks pierce DR skills and completely prevent defensive specials from activating. Very powerful effects if you hate damage reduction. For fodder, Nana has Attack and Speed Push 4 and Attack and Speed Menace. You can grab both if you like. To really sweeten the pot, rearmed Ophelia also joins this group, literally one of the most valuable units in the game purely for Special Spiral 4. She runs the Arcane Eclipse best, being able to pre-charge Luna thanks to all the cooldown effects and times pulse. Attacking as Finish 4 adds more damage on top, and Special Spiral 4 pierces those DR skills. 4 insanely strong skills, although all the passes are infantry only. Grim Robin would love the Arcane Eclipse, but if you pass it on to an infantry mage, 100% worth the effort to get Special Spiral 3 first, so you can also pick up the tier 4. Ophelia is an amazing unit in this group if you want legendary Hinoka, and legendary Nana also possesses some nice anti-DR perks. Very solid time to try and get Hinoka if you do want her. With Wings of Mercy 4 and Hinoka's Flier Emblem charge effects, it feels intentional that legendary Myrrh is rerunning on this banner. Myrrh's C skill gives a nice +6 defense field buff and follow-up denial for tanking, but it also gives her Warp Bubble. This blocks all warp movement within 4 spaces unless the foe has passed. I believe it's still only Myrrh and Gatekeeper with Warp Bubble, and Gatekeeper should get refined this year, so he might further play into the anti-warp role. In case you didn't know, the charge status is considered warp movement, so this can stop Hinoka and company from diving too deep as well. In terms of combat, Myrrh will add Exert Specials, -5 debuffs, a follow-up attack, and 30% damage reduction to stack with Dragon Wall DR. She also has Defense versus Unity, which is only coming from her at the moment. I wouldn't say legendary Myrrh is super impressive or anything, but Warp Bubble can mess up people too dependent on those warp effects. Next up in blue is legendary Sheeta, a Lance Flyer with good speed. Winglifted Spear has Kanto 2, armor and cav effectiveness, +5 stats, and lets Sheeta steal enemy field buffs for herself. Her B skill grants perma vantage if the foe is cavalry armored and grants offense and no follow-up. After combat, Sheeta also gets a Vent status, which works on all unit types. Sheeta comes with Distant Storm if you want distant counter with +5 attack on either phase. It will inflict recoil damage though. You then got attack and defense range for those debuffs. Sheeta can be quite good into Squishy Cavaliers since she can just Vantage G's them. Vantage is always annoying when you least expect it. To round out this blue group, we have rearmed Alfred back again. He's a Lance Cavalier with an insane attack and defense, and his self-improved for A skill adds a flat +10 attack and +20 defense, so you can look at the funny 70 attack and 60 flat defense. Alfred also gets +5 speed, but -5 res, so careful of magic damage. Arcane Cheong is still a solid lance, especially for the non-speedy units. Slaying, +5 stats, Omni Breaker, and if the user or throw moves when initiating, you get breath type cooldown. As always, Cavaliers and Flyers love the cooldown reduction, and this is a great weapon for those non-5-star lance armors as well. If you give it to a Cavalier Flyer, also pass along Flow Near Trace for Kanto and offensive follow. Alfred also has the nice crossbow attack for long range buffing. Overall, I wouldn't consider blue to be the most absolute strongest combat wise, but these are all decent units with interesting playstyles, and rearmed heroes are always worth having around. Next up in the green group, we have Mythic Sather, who's the free book 7 unit, so everyone already has her. She's an Astro Mythic and has high attack and res for a Green Mage Cavalier. Sather has accelerated specials, a free follow-up attack, and gets true damage based on her resistance. She has a couple support perks with a fall denial status for nearby allies, and her C skill can stop enemies from acting if she's in line with them and has higher flat res. To boost her chances, she gets Stillwater 4, which has its uses, and Chill Attack and Res 3 will debuff enemies, which will also spread out. Second in this group is Mythic Dogger, a light mythic action who is focused on being a speedy fighter. Her weapon has a built-in unity effect which actually synergizes with our last green hero, and you can pair those stats with no follow-up from her B skill. Dogger then has Attack and Speed Push 4 and even Tempest to move around. Decent stats, but definitely a bit power creep for sure combat-wise. Luckily, Dagger is unique because her weapon grants Pathfinder, which lets allies move across her space for free. Pair that with the extra movement skills for all the mobility. Last up is legendary male Robin making his first rerun. He's changed out of his wedding attire and is a green infantry mage with very high attack and decently high defense and res for a mage. This Robin can be a menace because his tome grants allies grand strategy, which is basically the unity effect, but it takes debuffs with the user into the enemy phase. This is good because Robin self-inflicts -4 to all stats and -6 to the 2 highest stats for his allies. This will activate Grand Strategy's unity effect, and the brilliant part of this strategy is that the enemy can't really do anything about it. To stack more stats, Robin also emits a -3 debuff on all stats on the nearest enemies that spreads out, and also inflicts more debuffs in combat. His A skill inflicts even more debuffs, plus has another unity effect. For actual combat perks, Robin has Slaying and Omni Breaker. He can get Guard via Seal Attack 4, and Counter Control stops those mobile attackers afterwards. Generally, just stat stacking isn't enough, but Robin takes it to an extreme, and you cannot counteract his self debuffs into unity stacking combo that also applies to his whole team. Paired with other unity weapon effects like Dagger has, and then unity A skills, and you have a very annoying unit. Last up is Colorless with legendary Makai, a colorless infantry mage with high attack and resistance. She has armored and cavalry effectiveness, a free follow-up, and Desperation 2, which is a bit tough to activate. Makai's B skill will come with 30% DR and a -5 attack against debuffs, plus she has Fury 4 to drop into Desperation range. Hopefully, it's a nice plan, but not super reliable, which is unfortunate. For support, Makai has her Sacrifice Assist upgraded into Maiden Solace and Joint Drive Guard for in-combat boss. Makai can still nuke some squishies, but taking physical hits is a major issue if you need 2 shots. Next up is legendary female Corin, a colored infantry dragon with good speed and balanced stats in general. She has her own unique defensive special that works on melee or ranged attacks. It also improves her next counterattack with Draconic Aura type damage. Primordial Breath has built-in cooldown to recharge negating Fang, and she has Shield Pulse to pre-charge the special, plus it gives some flat DR as well. With distant counter, Corin can fight back against ranged foes, and Joint Drive attack is nice for buffing as well. Technically, Halloween female Corin is just a better version of this Corin, combining Shield Pulse into her weapon. However, eventually legendary Corin will get a remix. Very interested in what negating Fang 2 could become. Last up is Ascended Alencia, a flying healer with great offensive stats. Crimean Scepter has built-in Wrathful Staff, accelerated specials, and gets bonus attack and speed with a stronger bonus doubler type effect for attack and speed buffs. Alencia also gives herself and allies plus 6 attack and speed field buffs with a follow-up on initiations as a solid status for more defensive units. Alencia herself has Dazzling Shift, which is the Dazzling Staff 4 skill, and she has Light's Restraint, which is a 2 cooldown offensive healer special that inflicts +1 cooldown and AoE guard afterwards. Super valuable unit if you want the new healer skills, plus she has Rescue Plus, which is also the healing drawback assist. For other skills, Elixir has Speed Armor's Hold and Attack and Speed Push 4, just very strong offensive healer, plus amazing fodder. That will be it for this month's Legendary banner. Legendary Hinoka should be a fun flying archer and will be a menace with a Flier emblem team. She basically can make flyers into cavaliers, so I'm sure you'll see that on a defense team sometime. Hinoka also introduces Wings and Mercy 4, which is unsurprisingly very strong looking. For a B skill that provides almost no in-combat power, it still holds a place because of how strong full map warping is. It now has even more warping abilities. Personally, I've been holding off on summoning until the last minute for this year's banners a lot. I am gonna do the same for this one, but I really want Hinoka and Rearmed Ophelia, plus Legendary Nana makes that group enticing as well. Let me know your thoughts on a new Legendary, and good luck if you are summoning. Next banner should be Book 7 Midpoint banner, and then it's double summer banners. Be prepared because not long after that, also CYL 7. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.